Did you know that Britain has more regional accents per square mile than any country on the planet? Yes, it does. And the reason I'm going to tell you this, well, I think it's very interesting, is because I've just been chatting to a pair of Australians here in Canterbury, Kent. This is the famous Canterbury Cathedral where Thomas à Becket was murdered in 1170. I think it was 1170. Google it. The video's not about him. It's about accents. And I was talking to these Australians who knew me from antiques TV shows and YouTube, in fact. Thank you for following. And I said to them, I love your accent. And they said, oh, thank you very much. I said, where does your accent come from? And they said, what do you mean, where does it come from? We're Australian. I said, yes, but how did your accent develop into that Australian accent? They had no idea. They'd never even thought about it. Probably rightly so, why would you? But I researched it for my book. Here it is, A Bash with the British Empire. So if it's in here, it's got to be true. And I discovered that the Australian accent was first noted in 1820, and the authorities there at the time were bemused by this accent that the colonial children were coming out with. And so they looked into it and they deduced that this Australian accent was a mix of all the British accents in one, and it had never been heard in Britain before, and there's a very good reason for that, because the accent had developed with English, Irish, Scottish and Welsh peoples all being put together in little townships in Australia. Now, this accent had never developed in Britain because these peoples ordinarily would never meet one another ever if they remained in Britain. So it was only when they got to Australia did they meet for the very first time. And so when you put people from Edinburgh, Dublin, London and Glasgow together, then within a generation or two, their accents mix, and the children of the settlers, the colonials, the children of these people develop a new accent. It would happen today. And this was noted in Australia for the very first time, the Australian accent. The same can apply to, of course, the New Zealanders in 1820.